Welcome to part 2 of Leading Our Own Way here on YouTube with my good friend Gordon Jenkins. If you missed part 1, please go back and watch it to catch up. You're missing out on one hell of a connection story. But don't worry, we're diving even deeper today. Gordon's got his knack for making the impossible look easy. But don't let his charm fool you. I'm only joking, Gordon. This is a man who's faced discrimination, navigated some family history and things that he had to go through, unfortunately, with his wife Wendy. And it'll become clear, I promise. But these things would break, I think, most of people, right? And somehow Gordon turned it into fuel for something incredible. We're talking about someone who's taken his pain and transformed it into big purpose. Founding the Longitude Foundation and launching a skincare business while helping others breathe easier, both literally and figuratively. Trust me, this is where Gordon's story gets really inspiring. Here's Gordon myself. We've got one more part after this, so please tune in. We're part 2 of the 3 series here on YouTube with Gordon Jenkins. Enjoy. Oh, please don't forget to subscribe too. It always helps.
That's their problem, not my problem.
Yeah.
I'm going to make mistakes.
But you're a pretty successful guy then. So with everything you've just said in mind, have you made many mistakes along the way? And if so, what were some of the biggest mistakes you made?
So that's the first thing you said was you're pretty successful. If you look at my bank account, you wouldn't think so.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't think so.
No. Because Wendy's got all my money.
Well, okay.
So when we talk about asset-wise, when I don't live in a big asset-wise. So when I think about success, I think about what I've personally achieved, but also what I've helped other people achieve. So if I look at financial services and stuff like that, and I look at the people today in Australia that are very successful in financial services, some of the most successful people in financial services in Australia have been because some of the things that I've put in place or helped them to do. Never, that was my job, wasn't part to get it. Success in terms of what I'm doing on Longitude, yes. Success, do I think I am as a human being successful? I have, the easiest way I say this is, if you pay me $1, you get somewhere between 90 cents and $1.20 from me a day. I think I'm working around about $1.09, $1.10 in terms of reward. So yes, do I think I'm giving back more than I'm doing? Am I going to bed a better human than when I woke up each day? Yes, in generally, I am. Yes, there's a blip obviously when sometimes I'm not. But I haven't made mistakes. I don't like using words like mistakes and failures, but my language isn't good enough.
There's nothing wrong with failures. I think failures is what make you successful. But just quickly on the point you just made, though, for me, it wasn't even the final assets or the list of businesses you've created. You've painted a picture to me where you're always positive. You seem happy, and I say seem because a lot of people can seem happy, but that's when, suicide come into play or they're really down. You seem happy to me. You've always been positive. For me, that's and I've rambled on this podcast, and I left my job to do this, so I'm earning the least money I've ever made. Well, within reason. I could go and earn a lot of money in my field that I'm in. I don't get paid for 3 months out of the year, but my best currency is my happiness or my content. I'm content. I'm the happiest I've ever been because of the purpose of what I'm doing and what it allows me to give to my family, my time, my presence in my mind. So I think that was more probably my angle, is that you seem happy. That's your success right now. Yeah, I'm assuming.
I am happy. So when I look at the happiness, when I look at my life, and from growing up in Manchester with as a kid with my parents having a successful business and working the business and not really going without anything, working in London and just being like the new kids on the block and getting whatever we bloody hell wanted and doing whatever the hell we wanted. The life I lived here, I would say I'm at the happiest I've ever been. Now, when I look at the things that I've taken away, that's made me the happiest thing, I've got a very nice car, but I don't need a $500,000 car. Right? I've got a very nice apartment, but I don't need a multi-million-dollar.
It's house. a $500,000 car that you've got.
No, I haven't. No.
All right, I was going to say, I want to see it.
No. Oh, sorry. I'll just go and pinch you right now.
Yeah. He's from Manchester, everybody.
If you're missing a Maserati tomorrow morning, you know where it's going to be. It's down the coast.
Only because he dropped it off here.
Yeah, honestly, officer. So I've removed the things that caused me the stress that wasn't living that happy life.
Yeah.
Because what became really important to me was I thought it was that, and it was nice to have those toys. And don't get me wrong, I loved having those toys, but I've done it. And the other reason why we don't have big sports cars is because this body doesn't fit into sports seats in sports cars any longer. It's a very tight fit. But what I realised was most important is, and both Wendy and I realised that experiences are the most important things to us. So I don't have a lot of possessions. So when you look around the house, I don't have pictures, frames, or anything else like that. I don't have pictures. You could wrap all my possessions into a suitcase and take them. Well, in fact, my clothes, everything at home that's mine, that's solely mine, not things shared, you could put in a suitcase and I can go anywhere. That's because I've moved around a lot. But experiences are up here. I can tell you, my photographic memory, I can tell you absolutely anything of everywhere we've been, the street, the road, because those are the memories that I hold. Those are the stories I tell, those experiences. I talk about the experience. I talked to you about it when I thought I was doing Kokoda. I was doing Kakadu, but I ended up doing Kokoda because I'm dyslexic and I booked them on bloody holiday. Right? But, right, so that's a big
Done that a few times.
I've done it a few times. When you talk about things you've done wrong, I thought I'd book a holiday to Kokoda, walk Kakadu because Wendy didn't want to do Kakadu, and then my chairman came in and told me I'm a silly idiot and I booked bloody Kokoda, the second hardest walk in, third hardest walk in the world. And I've got a camp and I'm going, this person doesn't camp and I've never walked that far in my life. But I did it. Right?
There you go.
Did it, and it's an easy experience because you train beforehand, right? And you just get up in the morning, you put your foot in front of the other, and you walk. Mm-hmm. And then you sleep. So my experiences are the most important things it's what I class as, if you talk about what are my successes and am I being successful, have I? Yes, but my experiences are also the things that I've done wrong. And when I look at the things I've done wrong is through business. A couple of things I've done wrong. When someone says, Gordon, what do you think? I go, Andy, you're a complete tosser. Oh, sorry, you did. When you say what do I think, you didn't actually mean to tell you that you're an idiot. You actually wanted me to tell you how good you are. But unfortunately, if you ask Gordon what I think, Gordon just tells you what I think.
Yeah, well, that's good.
So that's, but it's not good in a corporate environment.
Well,
people don't necessarily want to. Yeah. The second thing is that Gordon lives on the belief of decency, integrity, and trust. And if I support one will support, I'll get the support in the same way. But innocence, stupidity, whatever. But when there's a cutting coming on board in the workforce, Gordon was always the one that got cut. But that's because Gordon spent a lot of time working, helping people develop and people grow. And I suppose the biggest example was when I left UBS. In the following 3 years, I think they got about 3 or 4 people to try to do my job, and they couldn't do it. And I said, it's really easy. You just have to deal with people. Right?
Most people don't know how to do it, do they?
Most people don't know how to do it, but I have this net for people. So I think the errors I've made, I don't look at them as errors, and I talk a lot about life, and if we ever get back to where I started from, this thing about life is a game of snakes and ladders. So when you fall down the snake, that is in the game that is seen as a negative thing, but in life it's not a negative thing, because when you throw down the snake, it's because you're not ready to grow, because the snake is growing, so you've got to come out of that shell in order to experience a bigger life. And that's why I look at it. So I don't like using the word negative. So if you're falling down the snake, don't be upset. Really grasp it, because that means you're shedding your skin to get ready for the next explosion that you're about to do. So for me, it's really hard to be negative for a long time. Do I get miserable? Am I a miserable bastard sometimes? Well, yes, every Sunday when I get up and watch Manchester United play, I'm an actual miserable bugger.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been times when I've been, because I take things very personally, and people disappoint me. Right? The falling out with my brother is a big disappointment, but it's something which I can't go back in, and I can't go back in regrets because it will damage my mental health, and I'm not prepared to put myself in that position to do that. So it comes back to this resetting your boundaries. Right, always, I'm saying to me, always set your boundaries. Always continue checking. Am I letting people set my boundaries for me, or am I in charge of my boundaries?
Yeah.
That way, you continue to lead your own way.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. So with the onset of putting all these boundaries into place, where do you think this came from? What did you go through to have to do that? Because I don't think people have that foresight usually. People have to go through something in order to make those changes. I mean, I'm an example of it as well, but it's not my journey, and I'm very open about it, especially in my writing on Substack and stuff like that.
So I don't think there's one instance that came about. It's something which is. I've always been a square peg in a round hole, right? From my days at school, where I always say this: if I was allowed to do home economics or cooking, whatever it's called, there's no doubt I'd be one of the world's top chefs. But boys had to do metalwork and woodwork, and I go, that's what their task is for. I don't need to pick up a hammer. I don't own a toolbox. Well, I do own a toolbox, but I don't know why. Right? I don't do that.
Change a bulb like me, right?
It's really easy to hotwire a car, right? It's a brick through the window and two wires connected together. It's really simple, right? You don't need to know chemistry or physics. It's really easy to do.
This mank talk's coming out, everybody.
So at school, I did that. At school, I got forced to do French because I'm a bit of a maths nerd and maths genius. I've got no interest in learning French. I want to do home economics. So for 2 years, I sat still and did nothing in French. Didn't learn a single word in French, and come my French exam, I just ripped up the piece of paper and left the room. I didn't want to do French. And the system was because that's the system, and because I wanted to do home economics, and I didn't fit the system, I'm in the wrong. But I'm not in the wrong. It's the system that's in the wrong. Yeah. Because the system isn't flexible, because one system doesn't fit everything. Yeah. Right? So system, in business, I'm very big in business. I'm very big in education. In education and learning, one system doesn't learn everything. It's the same thing where you don't need to go to university now. You can go to TAFE, you can join the forces, you can get military, you can join the military. You can do all types of things to learn nowadays. Yeah. So we take that through. Then if we're going through university, I learned that I was no good at exams. I knew I was no good at exams. So I did a degree that had continual assessment. So I learned how to manipulate, or found a system that works for me. It just so happens to be a great degree that I did. But when if you fast forward that to Wendy, I remember when we went to the hospital for Wendy when she was diagnosed with her illness. It's like I was in my office in Collins Street in Melbourne, just about to sign off on a multi-billion-dollar capital raising. Wendy, bless her heart, was working at Shell, and she loves writing policy documents. And I'm going, right, over to you. Right, and to get told by the doctors, hey, you've got less than a year to live if you don't listen to what we say. And we're going, yeah, that's okay, thanks a lot. Can we go back to work now? And the doctor's going, no, you didn't get it. You need to listen to us. If you don't do what we say from now on, you're going to die. And we're going, yeah, that's okay, but can we go back to... And then I go, okay, you find out Wendy needs a lung transplant, and, God bless my mum. She pulls out the checkbook and goes, how much does one cost? That's when you realise that no matter how much money you have in the world, money doesn't buy your life. Because in order to get a lung transplant, the only thing that will allow you to get three things. One, you've got to be able to get on the lung transplant list. Two, you've got to be lucky enough to be a donor, to be a recipient. And three, you've got to think that the match is going to be good enough to keep you alive. And it is luck to get on look to be on the organ transplant list, look to get a donor, and bloody great science that they keep you alive. That's got absolutely nothing to do with what house you live in, what your car is, what school you went to, how much money's in your bank account, what job you do, who you know, who you don't know. It's purely everything that we assess every single day to the value of how good a person is out the window.
Yeah.
Right. That is as raw as you can possibly get to shit. Really, everything I've learned in my life means nothing. So how do I get a set of lungs? Well, you get on the transplant list and you just hope that someone on the other side unfortunately passes away and you get the lungs. Because remember, every time you get a set of lungs, it's because someone's not here tomorrow.
Yeah.
To get it. When you get that, you go, well, nothing in life really makes any difference, really, then, does it? So, that's done that. And then there's things, you go through, there's other things in life you go through in terms of, when you go through the medical world and you hear things that people say just can't be done this way, and I go, but why not? So I think in life when people say that things can't be done, they go, well, why? As in, why can't it be done? Why? I said, but why not? Because everything can be done. We know that because of COVID, right? No one allowed working from home until after COVID, and all these leaders suddenly allow their staff to work from home and think they're absolutely fantastic leaders because they're allowing staff to work from home. Well, you've got no bloody choice, mate. Right? Right? It's not your good leadership. It's a fact of a global virus that's allowed that to happen. So when we go around and we look at things and we look at life and we go, well, what am I actually doing, and what is actually making the decisions for me to lead my own way, live my own way, make every day count? It's being me and being true to me, knowing my North Star, knowing my center, right? Knowing that I'm going to stuff up, right? But I just remember what's happened in Manchester. So you talk about some things that I've done wrong. Ever tell you the time I smashed into a police car?
I think you might have missed that one out.
Right, so me and Dad were talking because my mum needed a new car, and Dad said, well, can't get a new car because Mum, got to get Mum's car.
I think you did tell me this.
Mum and Dad were going away for the weekend, so I took my mum's car out. Shouldn't have taken Mum's car out. Came around a bend too quickly and smashed into a police car. Went straight across the dual carriageway. And the policeman got out, came to me, and I said, what were you stopped for? And the policeman went, because the lights were on red. I went, oh, okay. 3 days later, I came to Australia, so I don't know whether I got a ticket or I didn't get a ticket. But my dad said to me, he says, so I rang up my dad, told him what was happening in the car. He goes, you know what? You couldn't even smash into the police car properly because I was about 3 millimetres away from getting the car being a write-off, and it wasn't a write-off, and the insurance company repaired the car and sent it back to us. So, you look at things and you go, well, I was speeding and did things wrong, right? I was stupid. I was a young kid doing stupid things in a car. Everyone does. That's how you learn.
Yeah, of course.
Thank the lucky stars that I didn't kill anyone or anything else like that, but look back in life like that now. But so when we say, what do we learn by? There's so much things, and it's often when people say, what's the one thing that's changed you and made you who you are today? And I say, there's not one thing that's done it. I am who I am today because of the choices I've made in the past. Right? Good, bad, or indifferent, they've made me. And if I look at me today, I'm actually all right. Did all right. I'm pretty happy. Big tick. If I was grading myself in school, I've never had gold stars in my life. I won't give myself a gold star. But I'll probably be a B+.
Yeah.
Right? Good. Right? Because I'm all right. Don't think I got many B+ at school, but I'll give myself a B+. But it's good. So the choices, and tomorrow, the person I am will be tomorrow will be the choices I've made up to today, plus what I've done today. That's who I am.
Yeah.
Right? But they're my choices.
For sure.
And I seriously believe that, right or wrong, we're all in control of our choices. yeah, so we look through it, and what are the mistakes? What are the mistakes? God, I don't know what the mistakes I've made, done wrong. Yeah, I've done some things that probably, I look back in life, the innocence and the stupidity of me with past girlfriends, and not that I cheated on or anything else, but just the way we split up, just the way we ended, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. You look
Normal
back now and you go,
things.
you look normal things. I look back now for when the dark times of even the. Are we going to get into the dark times? Do you want to get into the dark times of the bridge?
Yeah, I think we have to probably go a little. Before we do go there, let's go to you. I remember you telling me a little bit about a famous story of your mother and the connection with Australia, of probably why you ended up here, but a root cause of why you ended up in Australia.
Yeah,
maybe.
So my mother's a naturalised Australian.
Yeah.
She was born and bred in Poland.
Yeah.
My family's Jewish. My mum and dad are Jewish. My mum's family were persecuted in Poland by the SS, and she was brought out of Poland by the Jewish Red Cross to Australia. My dad was in Manchester. My dad worked for a group called Forensics, which is draftspeople, and he had the option to come and work for Wilson Transformers down in Glen Waverley in Australia and build the next generation of Transformers, or go and work for these Americans who are building something called an international business machine, obviously known by IBM. And his bosses, who knew everything about the world, said, "Peter, go down to Melbourne because these Americans don't know what they're on about." So he came down to Melbourne, met my mum through the Jewish Red Cross and different things. They went back to Australia, back to Melbourne, back to Manchester in 1966, funny enough, for the World Cup final.
Love it. And the year we won it.
The year we won it. One of the years we won it. And then they stayed there for the next 40 odd years, and they built up a very successful motor accessory business. Yeah. So that gave me dual nationality. So I was working in London, in the city of London, as a foreign exchange trader. Not really that good, just spending other people, the bank's money, in multi-million dollars a day. Drunk 6 days a week. Potentially drunk 7 days, but I didn't really remember the seventh day, so 6 days. And went into the office one day, full of smoke, trousers around the ankles because the people were too fat to sit on, and the cocaine was being delivered and the champagne was on the floor and everything else. I just looked at it and went, no, let's not do that. And resigned. Went back home and came out to Australia on £75 one way. Wow. And so I left in England on my English passport, arrived in Australia on my Australian passport, had no intention to work in finance ever again. Never had family here, never met my family here. There's that old story when you come through the gates, the international gates at the Melbourne airport, and it's like, that's your family. You want to turn around and go back through the gates, but yeah, that was my family.
Wow.
And never wanted to work in finance. Second night here went out. Spent $200. Realised that Perth is 3,500 kilometres away, a lot further than that on the map, and it costs more to fly to Perth than it does to fly back to Manchester. And got a job at ANZ 2 days later, and next 20 years stayed in finance. And that came in late 95, early 96.
Yep.
I met Wendy in 98. Knew straight away that she was the one. Knew that, just there was absolutely no doubt about it. She was the one. I know she felt the same for me. You can interview and get her story, but I'm pretty sure she felt the same for me.
I want to meet Wendy for sure.
And then, two people working in corporate. She was probably going to be travelling the world with Royal Dutch Shell. I thought, fantastic. She's got a car and a fridge. I thought she brings a lot more to the relationship than I do. We moved in. We got engaged. We moved in 99. Went back to Manchester and got engaged in 2000 because her mum was dying with breast cancer. So we came back and had the engagement. Her mum passed away on September the 9th, 2000. and we got married on May the 26th, 2001.
Wow.
Now, the reason we got married on May the 26th is because May the 11th is my birthday, which also happens to be FA Cup final day. Or used to be. But May the 26th was European Cup final day. So I thought, at least I can remember our wedding anniversary, so that's why I did May the 26th. And we had this picture of her, us traveling the world. We had it bookmarked, right? We'd go to live in Singapore, we'd have a baby in Singapore. Then we'd go to New York or Texas because she works at Shell. Right, we'll probably have another kid there. Then we'll probably move to The Hague in Holland. I'd retire. Right, she'd go and work. She'd go and do her HR stuff. I'd just stay at home and cook and look after the kids because that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then you got told you got a life-threatening illness. You're never going to have kids.
Where was the first sign of that, by the way? Was she ill? Was she feeling down?
Nah, so she's had she only had a couple of DVTs before, and they never really understand it. She was actually working late one night at Shell, and she walked in the Shell car park at Spring Street in Melbourne. She walked up the steps because it was dark, as everyone does in the corporate world, spends too much time there. And the next thing she remembers is waking up at the back of the car, with her head banged up, and she fainted because the blood pressure in her heart and her lungs had just burst up. So she got home. Of course, she drives home, which she shouldn't do, but she drove home. And then it was a matter of a couple of weeks after that from seeing a cardiologist, oncologist, ecologist, ologist.
Yeah.
We ended up at the Alfred Hospital to get told this is what you need to happen. And it's pretty daunting then. We remember this is 2003. This is 2003, so we've been married 2 years, just 2 years.
Yeah.
To get told there's no kids. Now, there's things happened over the last 15, 20 years that I got no comprehension of it. Not to be told that you can't have kids when you're one of a five-a-side football team. Really easy for me to switch off and do something else. What I had no expectation of is what goes through the female mind and the female body when your body is at that prime time to have kids, and you can't have kids. So there's that side of it. So she actually had something called primary pulmonary hypertension, which, for those that remember at that time, there's a little blue pill called Viagra, and Viagra was actually made for primary pulmonary hypertension. They just found out that when the monkeys take it, right, it opens up all your blood vessels, not just your heart and lung blood vessels. So I was quite fortunate when we was at the Alfred, and I remember speaking to Professor Trevor Williams, and I said, well, he said, well, she's got PPH. I said, that's what Viagra's for. And he goes, yeah. And he goes, how do you know about Viagra? I said, it just so happens this morning I was on a phone call with Pfizer in the US talking about this new pill, Viagra, and about how much it's going to increase the share price. I said, I'll just speak to the chief scientist and get him to give us some drugs. And he goes, you're never going to get some drugs. So, one thing you don't tell Gordon is you never.
Yeah.
So, I ring up the chief scientist, and I am Gordon Jenkins. You've got to remember at that stage, UBS is one of the biggest banks in the world. And I ring him up and say, hey, this is me in Australia. I said, my wife's got PPH, and I need some Viagra. And he said, oh, which hospital is she with? I said, oh, the Alfred Hospital. He goes, with Professor Trevor Williams. And I go, yeah. And he goes, yeah, we'll organise it.
Love it.
Now, he didn't organise it just for us, but it was everyone else. But at that stage, it was an unprescribed drug. It wasn't even a Class A drug. It was an ADF drug. You had to get the federal police to approve it. So you were given 20 tablets. You had to, and one day I lost a tablet. Fucking hell, the amount I went through. So 2 cases. I lost a tablet once, and then the second time the dog ate the tablet. So when someone says take these medicines, it's going to keep you alive, you usually take the medicines. Right? You never read that little piece of paper inside it that says what's a drug. So we read. So behind in the little Westie, I said, what should we do? So I've read it, and the instruction says warnings. If you still have an erection 6 to 8 hours after taking the tablet, go to A&E. I'm thinking, no bloke is going to be, if he's got an erection 6 to 8 hours after taking this tablet, he's not going to go to A&E. He's going to be running around going to look at me. So anyway, so we rang up the vet and go, what do we do? Because the dog's just swallowed a tablet of Viagra. And he goes, I've got no idea. So the next day, Barney's walking around the office, walking around the house, going,
God.
So then she got taken off the Viagra, so we had to return on the Viagra in 1/4 short. And I'm going, and by this stage, everyone knows what Viagra was about. And I'm saying to this really beautiful Italian pharmacist in front of me, I'm going, we're 1 tablet short. She goes, well, where is it? I said, well, the dog's eating it. And she's looking at me going,
yeah, right.
Yeah, really? Really? Honestly, our dog ate the tablet. No one believes what the dog actually ate the tablet, right? We didn't eat the tablet. So I think at that stage, the size of the tablet was a 25 milligram when he was taking 75 milligrams a day. So 3 times that type of stuff. So, so she has the transplant, and we just talk about it. But one thing that I've realised through the whole transplant journey and the stuff, you talk about what I've learned about this is that, and it still happens today, that people pick up the phone and they go, how's Wendy? How's Wendy? And no one says, how's Gordon?
Yeah.
And it's not about me.
Of course.
But the mental health of a carer is completely different to the mental health of a patient. And people just assume you are okay. Mm-hmm. Because you put this face on. And, this thing where you said before about, do I put this face on? I don't intentionally put the face in. There's a time when Wendy wasn't doing well. And I was at the cash out. And you get to the cash out and the girl says to you, how's your day been? And I went, I've got a shopping line of this trolleys, and I went, I've had a shit day. I said, my wife's in intensive care, and probably for the next half hour, this little girl at the cash out, I'm just absolutely downloading on her because she's asked me how my day was. As I finish the shopping, I've gone, oh shucks, I forgot the milk. Can I just leave my bags here and I'll go and get the milk? She goes, yeah. As she see me coming back, she's put the clothes sign on the trolley. She's closed the conveyor belt because she didn't want to speak to me. She thought I was going to keep her another half hour or so. Because when people say to you, how are you? That was the moment when I went, shit. It didn't matter who I was talking to. It was the fact that that moment I just released on someone what was happening. So the average lifespan of at that stage, we had this term that the average lifespan of a lung transplant patient is 7 years, and that no longer happens. Now we'll take that away. We don't use that now because it's not true. Because Wendy is...
It's nearly 20 years.
It's nearly 20 years now. So she's gone in. The life expectancy is so much improved in Australia because of what we do at Longitude. So, but 6 years, she wasn't doing well. So this thing that I've always believed in, why do we wait till 60 and then die at 65 and not live it? Yeah. So we decided to have a holiday of a lifetime, and it literally was a holiday of a lifetime because your life expectancy is 7 years, that she will die the following year, and her life insurance and her super will pay for the holiday. That's the idea. So we had a 6-figure holiday to Europe, first-class airfares, castles, chateaus, Michelin star restaurants, Nodder's food, France, Italy, you name it. It was bloody believable. To the point where we're at Charles de Gaulle Airport coming back. So while we were there, we stayed at this place called Castella Banfi, which is, I can't believe we haven't talked about the duck yet.
I've got it, don't you worry, it's coming up.
We're talking about Castella Banfi, and we stood there, and we said to each other, no matter how we feel, we can always be stupid tomorrow, but today we're going to make every day count. Now, tomorrow we can always be stupid is tomorrow we can always kill ourselves, because we both went through depression different ways, and we both thought about depression and is it worth carrying on living, and that's a stupidity. But we said if we're going to be here today, that's what we're going to make every day count. Yeah. So when we were at the airport, Charles de Gaulle Airport, sitting in first class, having some champagne, and Wendy's turned around to me going, I've got something to tell you, Gordon. And my first thought was, please don't fucking die here at Charles de Gaulle Airport, because I've got no idea how I'm going to get your super and your insurance to pay for this bloody holiday. Oh. Right? And she turns around and says, I've had the holiday of a lifetime. I've had the experience of a lifetime. I don't think I want to die. And I've shouted at the top of my voice, what the bloody hell do you mean you don't think you want to die? How on earth am I going to pay for this holiday?
I don't actually know how to react to this. Join us tomorrow to hear more from today's incredible guests and learn valuable insights to help you lead your own way. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you then.